place. His form is coming back, but he's not used to this. But everybody desperately trying to get out of that double pole section in first place. And it's the Swiss team, I think, came out first.
I think the Austrians broke early. I wonder whether we're going to see a second successive disqualification. There's Alexei Iderov going down. Just a case of one of the other skiers placing their ski on top of Iderov, so it wasn't actually his fault. Although on those tight corners, it's not a bad idea just to keep your skis together and use the poles.
Indeed, that's the safest option. As soon as you spread your skis out, when you have 18 teams side by side, always a risk of either your poles or your skis getting stood on. It's actually quite slow. I'm amazed it hasn't gone. Well, there's Helen fighting his way through, and right on cue, he really is setting the pace. Wolf was happy to keep it relatively slow and peaceful.
As you say, quite soft underfoot. You can see just how deep a groove the skis are making. Just watch out for the last leg of this relay. They're going to be ankle deep, and we have a second faller tonight. Not quite sure what that was about.
That's Latvia, I think, Team 16. Yeah. This is the bit that didn't show on the map when we saw the course profile, the 500 meters. So it's up the steep hill, quite a fast down. And your legs really do feel the stress going round that tree. It's a tight corner.
Egil Kjelland looking very comfortable indeed. The Germans in second place with Alexander Wolf. The Swedes right off the pace at the moment, Mike, but that's probably not a bad idea. David Ekholm, the man from Östersund, just taking it easy. He's the weakest of the Swedish skiers, so I think we can expect to see them gaining places as the race goes on, and that's exactly how they played it in Oberhof, coming through in the end to take that first place.
Yes, we can see the fall here. Yes, athlete to his left, Finnish athlete, put his ski pole in between his skis, and of course you can't bring your leg forward. You lose a lot of energy when that happens. These are the Toko reps out having a look at the snow.
Well, that's what they spend their life doing, just checking the conditions and trying to prepare the perfect pair of skis. And it will make a difference, maybe not so much in the first leg, but as the race goes on, we could well see the skis winning the day. Now, we had a good race yesterday. One or two incidents that affected the results. Poor old Liv Greta Poré, a disastrous final shoot, having had a 37-second lead coming in for the last shoot. She got herself 2 penalties, ended up going 2.5 loops before she realised she only had to do 2, and as a result losing first position and losing second position to Kari Wilhelm.
Indeed, and so unusual to see such a thing. You've got 2 penalties, that's what you normally do, and get out of the penalty loop as fast as you can. It shows that you have to keep focused throughout the whole race. That was coming towards the end.
The British in 15th position as they go through. All the top teams separated. Only about 7 or 8 seconds between 1st and 15th, so nothing to worry about for Tom Clements. He's now just got to settle his mind and do his own thing on the first shoot. He'll be down in lane 18, away from most of the action, so nice quiet situation, but he's skiing okay, Mike.
He's skiing very well. Look at the dynamic tempo there from Tom. He's really upping his tempo there. Maybe not quite gliding as much as we saw Kjelland, but that's all down to balance. But I really hope the British team can do well today. They need to qualify for the Olympics.
Well, they need some good results. It's not been a brilliant season so far, although good news for Emma Fowler, who put in a very good race. In fact, 2 good races in Oberhof. Firstly, qualifying for the pursuit by finishing in the top 60 of the sprint, and then another solid performance. She wasn't overawed by the occasion.
She wasn't indeed. One of the best shots of the day, and 9.3% behind was very respectable. Good chance to see the steepness of this climb. It really does. By the time you get to here where we see the finish by athlete, your heart is pounding, your legs are screaming, but that is the nature of this game.
So while we watch them negotiate the corner that gave the women so many problems yesterday, and they look a little bit tentative on it. It may look soft on the top, but I think underneath there's a little bit of ice showing, and as the race goes on, Mike, and it gets colder and colder as we expect it to do, we may find that they have a few problems. It's always nice to have a few obstacles in the way. They make it look so easy on most occasions. Hjelland leading. Good start from Alexander Wolf. His confidence, you can see just from his body language and the way he's skiing, he's feeling fantastic, having recorded his best race for 2 seasons, just the last pursuit in Oberhof, where he finished in 3rd.
Yeah, very respectable racing indeed. Look at Finland, though. Team Finland have come from the very back. This is Purunen, and there's one certainty with Purunen: he will be the fastest shot, and I believe he can do 5 with 5, so I would not be surprised if Finland take the lead after the shoot.
Well, they're wearing bib number 17, indicating their position in the relay rankings, but that's because they had a dreadful run in Bailastolen the first round of the year. Didn't race in Oberhof last week, but here they are, leading the way. Paavo Purunen, man, is really he's one of those biathletes who enjoys the big occasion. When the Olympics and the World Championships, that's when we see the best of him. And then when he's not on form, he's down outside the top 50.
Well, the Finnish press, he was saying, called them lambs when they should be lions, and he said, well, the press can think what they like. He said, when I want to make it happen, I will make it happen. And that's what he's planning on doing today. Purunen for Finland.
Well, I guess he's got to get himself qualified for the World Championship, so I guess he wants to impress the judges. Now, first shoot of 8 in all in this relay, in the prone position, and you can see Alexander Wolf there just emptying his 3 spare rounds onto the mat, which he hopes he won't have to use. One miss from Purunen. The Czech Republic still clear, so they have a chance to take the lead. The Austrians have gone clear with Christoph Suman. Excellent shoot from Suman, and he gets the targets down first. Estonia are clear. Purunen was quick, Mike, but he made a mistake. That cost him another 10-15 seconds. Egil Hjelland likewise making mistakes. He's going to find himself at least 10 seconds off the pace, and with a little bit of skiing to do on this next loop.
Well, a lot of spare rounds used there from Italy. Switzerland might be on the penalty loop. Tom Clemens, 1 target to go, 2 shots left. He's got it. That's a good result.
What's going on with the Swiss? Well, finally it goes down. So it doesn't look as though the penalty is going to be used on this occasion, or do we have... that's not the Swedes breaking left. I think it is, Mike.
Oh, the pressure, the expectations now of being one of the best teams, and has that put Ekholm onto the penalty loop? Oh, what a disaster.
Well, no surprise at the top. Austria, Ukraine, the Czech Republic, the leading 3. Germany in 4th place after the first shoot. Halfway through the first leg of this men's 4x7.5, and some interesting shooting results. Just one nation going on the penalty loop. Mike, we thought it was Sweden. In fact, it was the Swiss who went round the loop. A disappointing shooting result for them. And of course, Hallenbatter it is taking the first leg. Everyone else clear, although Slovenia, France missing 3 targets, costing themselves 30-35 seconds.
Yes, an expensive amount of time used. But David Ekholm, yes, had the perfect shoot, Ekholm, when he's only 17 seconds behind.
What's going on here? Major discussion going on the range.
That was Norbert Bayer, indeed. I wonder if there's been an indication that the targets are being hit, but not registering as a hit.
Well, if that's the case, they may well find that they block off one of the lanes just so no one uses that target. They won't want too many complaints.
Yeah, when the athletes are shooting, you have the coaches are scoping their own athletes, so you do have a good reading of what is going on. There's Melikov, Russian official, jury member, I believe, during this meeting. Look at Suman. He really is turning up the pace for Austria, making the others really hurt.
Czech Republic having an excellent run. Norway were 12.5 seconds behind when they came out of the range after that first shoot. Egil Kjelland now going through the split time, 14.8. The Austrians with Suman are turning up the pace. Germany being dragged along with them. Now, we've seen it so many times before. It looks good on paper, but as soon as they come to shoot, then they all have a disaster. That lead group just getting too excited.
Yeah, absolutely, the pace, and Christoph Schumann has great form today, may well test the others and stretch what is normally acceptable for their heartbeat coming into the range, the way you breathe. You get into a routine, a race routine. 3 races a week, your body, your mind all work together. And if you go over that routine or that limit that you have, you really could put yourself in trouble. Fritz Fischer, great name in biathlon, throughout the 80s and 90s, early 90s. Coaching now and giving his best advice to Alexander Wolf.
Not sure Wolf needs too much at the moment. He's played his cards pretty well at the moment. Not too eager to take the lead, maybe holding something in reserve for that last leg, but I'm sure so much of this is due to the fact that he got such a good result in Oberhof last Sunday, and he showed just how quick he can be over the snow there. Now the team coaches, plenty of them, but all the teams will have someone in the range area sighting the targets, just giving the athletes an indication of where the shots are going. But with these sort of conditions, Mike, there really are no excuses for missed targets, and if someone's shooting low left, it's because they've done something wrong. Absolutely,
either wrong placement of the elbows or snatching, where you have this nervous twitch and you pre-shoot effectively, and that throws the shots high. There's so many factors, and the coaches know the athletes they're training 364 days a year, a lot of these athletes, and the coaches get to know the routines and where an athlete will miss normally. Of course, that advice is passed down the line.
So what happened to those lazy days you're supposed to have that lengthen your life expectancy and enable you to perform better when you require it?
Well, when they retire, they can they can recharge their batteries, But no, of course, rest is a big factor in all performance, and rest from shooting as well. I think Egil Kjelland is struggling a little bit here. We're getting an indication. No, only lost...
he's lost 5 seconds since he came out, which doesn't sound much, but in this game it can make the difference between first and third, the sort of relays we've been having so far this year. Here they come for the first shoot. The crowd just starting to get involved. I was a bit disappointed with their vocals yesterday. I was expecting song and dance right the way through, but the fact that Germany didn't win sometimes dampens their enthusiasm, but they're in the lead at the moment. We should get a good response, especially to the shots of Alexander Wolf, who, if he holds that first position, should be in lane 1. Here we go.
And 3 groups of 2 people coming in. First group, second group of 5-6 seconds behind.
Suman's standing shoot record, 78% in recent races. Alexander Wolf, exactly the same. Rushed that second shot.
Well, Kjelland hasn't even shot yet.
Well, great shooting from the Austrians and the Ukraine. Norway really taking their time. What's Kjelland doing? Just trying to keep the Norwegians in the race. Doesn't want to make any foolish mistakes. Looks a little uncomfortable in that position, leaning forward a bit further than most.
Yes, he does. That's his individual technique. But yeah, strategy there was pretty good. He took 4 or 5 seconds longer to settle, but it worked. Built the perfect position. Now there's Perunen again, fast shooting.
I think it's fair to say, Mike, that you can't really win the relay at this stage, but you can certainly lose it. And by keeping himself in the race, he's going to be, 25, maybe 30 seconds adrift at the end of the race, unless he saves something in the tank for the last loop. That's not a bad performance. He can rely on the likes of the rest of the Norwegian team, who are just looking for them. They're way down the start order. Eckhoff, Hannavold, and then Oleana Bjorndalen. Well, he can catch up 15-20 seconds on anyone, so they don't need to panic at this stage.
They don't need to at all, because when you've got those names you just mentioned, problem here from Kruglov, couldn't push his bolt forward. It's an Anschutz. Normally, mechanically, they work very well.
Well, Kruglov was saying it. Welcome back. Early days in the men's 4x7.5 here in Rupollding. The first leg just about to be completed. Second runners waiting to set off. We had one or two teams a little slow on the takeoff in Oberhof. I'm sure that's not going to happen here. Lessons learned. There goes Wolf in the front. The Finns have been going exceptionally well. The Austrians, Mike, good shooting to get them in there. And Ukraine, is that Ukraine sitting in second place? I think it is, with Derkach, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah. Derkach was out first from the range, only 0.8 of a second ahead of Alexander Wolf. Yes, Schumann has put a great... The Austrians, of course, will be wanting to get up into much better race form now. They're ranked 6th overall in the relays, but remember the World Championships moving down there in early March, down to Austria, Hochfilzen.
There you go, Kjelland. Now seems to have turned up the work rate, trying to close down the gap that stood up after that shoot, 21.4 seconds. So we should get an indication in around 13 seconds as to whether he's managed to close it at all on Germany, who lead the way. Rico Gross waiting to go, the big hero of Rupollding. In the year 2000 he won absolutely everything here. He was in quite magnificent form, and well, he's only got 3 wins in the World Cup here in individual races, but he's only got 8 overall, so it's still his most successful venue. So I think we could see something special from him today.
Oh, I think so. He actually trains. This is his base in the summer, as you mentioned, and he really is out there twice a day on his roller skis on these tracks. So when you know a course inside out, you know how you're going to react, how you cope with the pressure. A little bit of an advantage.
Roman Prima there is going to have a bit of pressure to cope with. I'm sure he wasn't quite expecting this. He's up with the lead group, and he's going to be given the baton in 3rd position, I think it is, and as long as Derkach can stay with these two, then it's going to be an impressive run. Suman turns it on the last of the big climbs. Wolf behind him struggling to stay with it, but Wolf has put in very consistent work rate right the way throughout this first leg. So Austria leading now, Germany second, Ukraine in 3rd, Norway starting to make a move. Kjelland has sensed that break up front and trying to match the leaders.
And there's Arne Edlund, head coach, running up beside him, pleading with him to get moving faster. Just looking further down, Patrick, 10 teams were out within 56 seconds. Poland in 10th place, Great Britain 11th, good one from Tom, shot 5 with 5 in the standing. And everybody is so close here. Sweden, 1 penalty look for David Ekholm, down in 15th place. That will be tough for them to come back from.
Yeah, disappointment after yesterday. The Austrian coaching team, I'm sure they're smiling inside, delighted to hand over in first place. And for the Austrians, it's going to be Wolfgang Perner, a man with a huge amount of experience, but he is up against the great man Rico Gross at 34. Gross really is an astonishing performer, and he's so good in the relays because he is the best shot on the tour. 91 and 92% his record at the moment, better than anyone else, just as he was last year. It is a phenomenal achievement.
Derkach working so hard, desperately trying not to lose more than his, 3 seconds at the moment.
Has Kjelland managed to limit the damage? 21.5 seconds. Remember, he was behind before the last check. 22.1 now. He's just about matched the likes of Suman and Wolf of Germany, who are still out the front, and I don't think the crowd will be too worried by the presence of the Austrian team. They have won a relay before. That was in Hochfilzen 5 seasons ago now, and that was a great occasion with Sven Fischer, 45-second lead, 1 shoot to go, and he threw it all away.
Well, great day for Austria so far. Perner is well used to the pressure. The weakness that Wolfgang Perner, is his stand shooting.
Yeah.
But let's hope we can put that together today.
What about the skiing? Do you think he can match Rico Gross?
Yes, I do. His recent form hasn't been too bad, and with the inspiration of being up in the lead now, he will fight. He'll fight to his limit to try and stay with it. Desperately bad changeover there.
Stian Ekhoff.
He nearly got knocked over.
Almost sent into the barriers, but he survives that one, but it won't have done his heart rate any good at all. Norway going out in fourth, 22.9 as you can see, and the Finns in fifth. That was a good run by Puranen. We haven't seen much of him this season, and maybe an indication that he's coming back to the sort of form that won him a title in the 98 Olympics.
Yes, Finland, it's Vesa Heitalahti, second, hasn't been on the tour yet this season. This is his first race. Oh, disaster. Perner, what happened there? I think his ski caught the edge. Snow is higher. Now that's lost the initiative.
Yeah, no, that's bad news, but he's fallen at exactly the right point, Mike. On the top of the hill, he can make up some speed on the downhill, but he's going to be at least 15 seconds behind, and Rico Gross won't really know what's happened there.
Out there on his own. But this will tighten up Wolfgang Perner, just the anger, annoyed with himself for falling.
Yeah, but we've said that a few times, and everyone who's fallen, Anderson in particular, and then we had a faller yesterday in the women's relay. I think it was one of the Norwegians, Tora Berger, who fell before she came in, and they've all gone 5 with 5 in the next shoot. Simply, we think, because their mind is no longer on the task ahead, and they're just getting on with it.
Well, and psychologists, sports psychologists, do say that anger is a positive. Oh, it's this Davies de Canal, it is. This is the corner before the bridge into the range, so that's his race over.
Well, I think he looks injured as well, because he certainly wouldn't hang around in that spot if he wasn't hurt. So we'll just hope that he's okay. I think it was Willy Palhuber actually taking the second leg for Italy. Unless Dacanal's been there for the last 15 minutes and no one's picked up on it. Well, I'm sure that's not the case.
I can't see them having come in for the first exchange.
In 11th.
Sorry, it is. That's Willy Palhuber.
That's the French, Alexandre Aubert, and the French down in 15th place. He's had a bit of a nightmare. 6 shots missed, plus a penalty loop. It's been a bit of a disaster. Not the way you want to start your World Cup career, but give him a chance. It's not the best of situations in the relay, where you're in full view of 16,000 people, plus the millions of viewers around Europe. And incidentally, biathlon now the top winter sport in both Norway and Germany. A lot depends on which teams are doing well, and those two nations doing exceptionally well at the moment. But it's caught the imagination of the sporting world, and I don't see things changing.
I don't either, but when you look at a country like Norway, you then become a superstar. If this is the most viewed sport in Norway, they really are in the newspapers on a regular basis. And I think in some small way that has a negative effect for Liv Greta, because they are expecting so much from her. She will be back, I'm convinced, but it does put the athletes under an extra pressure, I think.
So 9 seconds now separating the top 3 teams. Norway starting to close down the gap a little. Good skiing from their number 2 runner, Stian Ekhoff. 22 seconds. He's just cut it by a fraction. But it could all change on the first shoot, and it's not going to be long before they come in. Rico Gross back in the lead. Good recovery from Wolfgang Perner to get back on terms, Mike. He's gained 40 yards or so on a flat section.
He has indeed. And yeah, the disappointment, 300 metres into his race to fall, brushed the snow off his body and got straight back into it.
Winding the clock forward, I should say, to leg number 4. Should these two teams still be level, we'd have Ludwig Gredler up against Mickey Grice. That would be an interesting contest, but it may not get that far. I have a feeling that Sven Fischer may be able to pull away from Wolfgang Rottmann on leg 3.
Yes, on paper you would expect that to happen. Oh, look at Ekhoff, he's closing this gap.
Looking nice and light on the skis. This hill may stop him, but that technique, nice high tempo, the skis gliding away, upper body relatively still, little bit of a rock from side to side, but that skiing on the steepness of a hill like that, indicating that he's on very, very good form.
Well, Konovalov, on the other hand, in fact, no, sorry, this is the second athlete for Finland. It's Haitalahti, his first major competition of the season. Looks a little bit race rusty.
Team 16 is Latvia, Zimelis going through. Skis a little bike. Halvard Hannevold with the legs a long, long way apart and an excessive amount of upper body motion.
So the big steep climb, this is the steepest climb in any of the World Cup courses. This angle here, possibly in Pokljuka, there's one hill with this angle for maybe 5-10 meters. This is steep.
What about Kontiolahti?
Nothing steeper than this. This is like a wall when you ski into this, and you really have to reach up. Trying to keep your head up is better. Brings the legs forward underneath you just a little bit more. Look at Ekhoff. I'm just thinking Ekhoff hardly gets noticed, if you like, within the Norwegian team. There's so many stars, but this man is great.
Lovely skiing. He slowed a little at the top of that hill, but he really attacked the bottom, changed 2 gears down to be able to keep the momentum going. And Ekhoff is having a great run. Let's hope that he's not pushing too hard. Now, big moment for Rico Gross. Seldom missed a prone target. 91% hit rate this year so far. And Wolfgang Perner only 82. So you would expect Gross to go clear, with Perner missing at least one. But it doesn't always turn out the way you think it will.
Oh, look, rifles coming off together. Magazines. There's Rico putting his spare rounds on the mat. Both magazines going in together. Perner a little bit earlier, getting the rifle into his shoulder.
Well, pretty much as we would have expected. 1 and 2. Good shooting by Rico in the first 4. I think he may have rushed that last one, but it's gone down. The damage limited by the Germans. And Austria with Perner struggling a little. He's taking a long, long time to get that first spare away. And the clock ticking away. 7, 8, 9 seconds. Germany disappearing into the distance. The last one from the Norwegians going wide as well, Mike. It's that 5th shot scenario. We've seen it so many times.
Good though, Ekhoff will have pulled back a little bit of time. Well, certainly on Austria, but no, it's going to be much the same as before the range for Germany. Oh, disaster for the Ukraine.
What a shame.
Prima, the least experienced from the quartet.
And he's off round the penalty loop, so they're going to end up 40 seconds plus another 150 metres behind the leaders. This is a target from Rico Gross. Should be able to see the fall of shot. That one was just a little low, but fairly central. And there was the miss, way out to the right. What's happened there?
Well, I saw the previous shot was low right. Possibly his position, although Rico is, as you say, the best shot on paper in the world at the moment, on average. So who knows, possibly the wind, possibly his position.
Well, there you see the top 7 positions, and the field starting to spread out now with the first shoot completed on this second leg. Germany established a lead of 18 seconds, Austria just ahead of the Norwegians. So 3 of the 8 shoots completed now in Rupolving, and Germany have built themselves a little bit of a cushion. Certainly 1 shot's worth, so Rico can afford to miss 1 shot on the second shoot, the standing, and he should be able to stay on terms with Austria and Germany, who are chasing hard. Austria and Norway, I should say. The Norwegians moving the better of those 2 teams.
They are indeed. Just looking down further down, Italy are still racing, so the shot we had earlier of an athlete into the side of the advertising stand, it must have just been as he finished his race. Super smooth skiing from Ekhoff. makes these hills look so easy, reaching so far up. And it's you need power to do that as well. Huge amount of leg power.
Through the 3.8-kilometre checkpoint. Remember, 7.5 kilometres for each man here tonight, and they've got a pretty punishing schedule. Day off tomorrow, and then the sprint on Saturday morning, and then they're back out on the course for a pursuit event on the Sunday. And the cumulative effect of 3 weeks of racing like that, 3 races each week, so that's 9 races in 3 weeks. I can't think of any other sport where they would have such a grueling programme.
No, it's tough, very tough, and the same procedure before Christmas, with only 14-15 days off, in fact. No, there's very few sports who would ask so much from their athletes. And that's why the training programme in the summer has to be a real builder. It has to build power and lasting power. They put in a lot of mileage, a lot of kilometres. It's a strange course, this, because there's no long downhill section where your legs can fully recover. And although it looks easy when they're skiing along the flat, the work rate is total, and it consumes a lot of energy.
So who do you think this course suits as opposed to the courses that we see in Scandinavia, where the hills tend to be longer climbs?
I think for me it suits the Norwegians, even though the long climbs suit them as well. But because this is so smooth, the Norwegians' efficiency on skis is a little cut above the rest. Certainly Ole Einar, Eckhoff, Kjellen, very smooth skiers.
But this is really a course where it's those who can recover from an interval session quickest who do well. Because, as you say, you've got very little time to recover, so those who do have an immediate recovery are likely to perform better because they can then attack the next hill. So if you want to get good on a course like this, you've got to do maybe more short intervals than you're used to for races up in Norway.
Absolutely, and as you mentioned there, I think you have to cope with a very high lactic threshold, because you're not able to flush the blood out, recover at any point. You have to be able to tolerate a huge amount of lactic.
And the only way to do that is to produce it in training, and the body will develop means of firstly using the lactate as a form of energy, and secondly flushing it out of the system.
Perner looks as if he's tiring just a little bit.
Yeah, I think Eckhoff is moving very well now. He's closed the gap down significantly. 13.9 Perner is behind. He's gained 5 seconds after that first shoot, so he's doing well. I don't think Rico Gross is easing up at all. I think it's just that Austria and Norway are pushing very hard indeed to close the gap down. And what they want to do here is to come onto the mat at about the time that Rico Gross is going to let that first round go, because it will distract the German, whatever he can do, and he's got a brilliant mental approach to this game, but he will be distracted by the arrival of the Austrians and the Norwegians, and that perhaps is the only chance that those two teams have of getting back on terms before the end of this second leg. So Rico Gross, well, the crowd expect him to hit 5.
And what a record, 92% hit rate in the standing this season.
Remember, 50 metres, just over 12 centimetres across the standing target.
Rock solid.
And it's that easy, except he's thrown that last one high right. You can see where it's gone, but no time wasted whatsoever. Well,
he didn't expect to miss there, and just delayed reaction a little bit, putting it high.
Good performance by Eckhoff. Can he get the 5th one? Yes, he can. Good move from the Norwegians. They're back on terms. There'll be not much more than 12 seconds between Germany and Norway. And Wolfgang Perner, as you said, Mike, his shooting standing is a little suspect, and well, he's lost 20, 30, 25, maybe even 30 seconds as a result of this, and he's 5 seconds slower with each shot than Rico Gross.
Just, yeah, taking a lot longer to build that position. Still good, though. 3rd place for Austria. They will be impressed.
Other teams coming up. The Czech Republic in 4th place at the moment, but they're having 1 or 2 problems with Mikael Schlesinger. Now, the Finns with Hiatilahti, that's the sort of form we saw from him in the year 2000 when he was the best shot on the tour. He's gone clear, 5 out of 5, no mistakes from Hiatilahti, and Finland, I think, are going to move up into 4th position. Switzerland 2 misses, Latvia 2 misses.
Russia having a bad day, very bad day. Well, that was a disaster from Konovalov. And look at the time behind. I'm not quite sure Russia will pull that time back. This was so relaxed from Ekov. 5 with 5, rapid fire.
I think the one thing we haven't mentioned about the Norwegian team, Mike, is that neither Lars Berger or Frodo Andersen, the 2 quickest skiers, maybe barring Bjorndalen, but the 2 quickest skiers who have the worst shooting record, they haven't been included on this occasion, although they would expect those 2 to beat the likes of Ekov and Hjelland in a straight running race. So Norway have gone for the safety option. They want the marksman in the team, and it's going to be very interesting, because if it pays off here, you can almost guarantee they'll do the same when it comes to the World Championships in Hogfilsen.
Welcome back to Rupollding as we pick up on Sven Fischer going to the changeover box. I don't think he'll be leading it out though. Ekov managed already to hunt down Rico Gross, pass him and leave him.
Well, great skiing by the Norwegians, but being in first spot is not always a good move in the relays. The first team to take the mat, I think, have significantly more pressure on them because they are expected to come out in first place. Ekov, though, knows that he's handing over to a man who's not on his best form, Halvard Hannevold, and if Hannevold can get a slightly easier ski time, then he can probably shoot a little bit better. But this season hasn't gone very well for Hannevold. This may be the day that his fortunes change. He's down in 11th in the World Cup standings at the moment, and looking through his record, he's really only had 1 good meeting, and that was in Oslo, where he got a good 4th position there. But since then he's faded, Mike, made a load of mistakes.
He has indeed, and the pursuit on Sunday, so his recent shooting form was amazing. I think in one visit to the range he missed 3 targets, so unlike Halvard. But the great thing with Halvard Hannevold is he always wants to come back and come back stronger. He does also like Rupollding. He will lift his performance here. He loves to perform in front of the big crowds.
So Hannevold going 3rd for Norway. I think Ekov has pretty much assured himself a place in the Norwegian team at the World Championships. That's been an excellent performance. He's shot well, he's skied brilliantly, and if he can stay ahead of Rico Gross, he's taken Norway from 3rd into 1st in 1 leg. Round the last corner, all he's got to do is stay on his feet now. He looks very, very comfortable on the skis. Does a bit of telemark skiing in his spare time. Not a bad thing to be multi-talented when it comes to ski sports, Mike, simply because you learn different skills from different events.
Absolutely, and it's a change. The mind and body need a bit of a break. If you do this routine all the time, you can become stale, so you need other activities to keep excitement and the thrill of skiing on these skinny skis.
On the same note, if you were coaching British athletes who don't have a huge amount of experience when it comes to skiing, would you take them alpine skiing, or would you do all the training on the skinnies?
No, I would take them alpine skiing, and I think telemarking, as Ekov does in his spare time, I think that even picks the skills and the balance up better. So without a doubt, huge part would be downhill ski training. Well, Rico isn't giving in whatsoever.
Well, this is just the way we wanted it, neck and neck between the two top teams in the world, and just as Frank Look predicted before the race started, Norway and Germany would be the two teams to contend this one. Well, we have two very experienced men, the Olympic champion from 1998 in the individual goes for Norway, and Sven Fischer, who has now notched up 28 World Cup wins and is having the season of his life with 4 wins already this season. So Fischer goes for Germany, Hannevold for Norway. Another tight duel. Well, Eckhoff, outstanding today. He's done a great job to get Norway back on level terms. Where do you feel this one is going to go?
Well, Halvard immediately is happy to take second place, and I think that's sensible. Sven is on amazing ski form right now, and Hannevold can always get, I was going to say, dragged on. Of course you have to work as hard as you can, but it's easier to ski behind somebody than it is to lead. And Halvard may lose a little bit on the skiing, but I think he'll be able to match it on the range. Well done, Wolfgang Perner. Good work done there, although little difficulty. 2 spare rounds for Wolfgang on the range. Here's the changeover. You're coming in at about 20 kilometers per hour, and look at Eckhoff. He has to keep his poles together, his skis together, to prevent the other exiting athletes tripping over any part of his equipment. Finland, this is good considering Haitalahti hasn't raced yet at the World Cup this season.
Great run by the Czech Republic, only a minute 26 off the leaders. It's not, we always reckon that a minute and a half is about the limit at the halfway stage if you want any chance of winning. I don't think envisage that, but if the Czechs can stay in the top 5 positions, that would be a brilliant run. It's a bit of a shame that we've got an understrength French team, Mike. We would have expected them to make a challenge, and with Russia putting in such a poor performance, down in 8th at the moment, I'm glad I didn't put my money on them this week.
Well, it's quite amazing that the Russian team at the moment is the best shooting team. They've only used 1 spare round, so ski form has deserted them. Could be, in a small part, could be their skis, the wax technicians, could possibly, with the changes from very icy to wet snow, that could be a factor.
Yeah, one of the hardest days preparation for the technicians. It's been warm, we've had rain, we've had snow. It got very, very cold just before the race, and it's starting to get colder as the race goes on. Obviously, there's night sets in here in Germany. And I think that's probably the most likely scenario, because they're not all going to lose form overnight, unless, of course, they have been hit by the gastroenteritis that's going around Rupollding at the moment, and that's exactly what's inflicted poor old Poiré and Vincent Defrain.
And also the Slovenian team, the whole team have not felt very well today, so are not starting.
Too much bratwurst, I think, the problem.
Yes.
That's another good point, Mike. When you were on tour, did you do as the Norwegians do and many of the top teams, take your own food, or did you just take what the locals provide?
We had to take what the locals provided in budgetary terms, and even flying with your own. The Norwegians fly with an awful lot of weight, extra supplies, if you like, their cheese, their bread, their salmon.
You didn't bring some deep-fried Mars bars down from Glasgow?
No, absolutely not. But yeah, a lot of the teams do take what they're used to. But the food here, Rupollding hotels are excellent, so it's well good enough for athletes racing like this.
Yeah, it's a good spot to visit if you're a cross-country enthusiast. You've obviously got these facilities. There's plenty of downhill around, perhaps not the hardest downhill in the world, but if you're just starting out in a skiing career, not a bad place to be. But maybe wait for another month or so before the real snows arrive. It's not a good season for snow supply, but that applies pretty much throughout Europe and not just here in the south of Germany.
Just the final team coming through now to the exchange, and it's France. Been on the penalty loop twice, 3 minutes 54 behind, and that just shows how they lose out without Poiré. Ahead of them, it's Great Britain, Mark Walker, 3 minutes 41 behind, and ahead of them, Belarus, who have been on the penalty loop 3 times.
Wout van Aert looking relatively comfortable behind Fischer. I think that's a bit of a surprise. He's settled in behind. You can almost see Fischer thinking, can't you? Just trying to work out what the race plan is, because I'm sure he was... The one different thing with the relay is you don't know what situation you're going to be in when you start. A mass start, an individual race, you know exactly where you are in the field. You can say, right, I'm going to take my bearings off the performance of Ole Einar Bjorndalen, or someone a little bit slower, preferably. But in the relay, you don't know whether you're going to be playing catch-up or whether you're going to be 2 minutes clear of the rest of the field, and therefore you have to make your plan as the race goes on.
That's a very valid point. You see Russia down in 8th place at the moment, 1 minute 45 behind. And without a doubt, you can safely say that Rostotsev didn't really plan for that. He thought, I'll be in 3rd place, 2nd place or 1st place. So it's a whole set of new feelings you've got to deal with. But Sven, as we watched him ski up the last hill, Sven Fischer, he's the only athlete I've been looking at this season who starts his first loop slower than most of the other athletes. We can guarantee Sven will increase the pace the second, more so than the rest, and his last pace, his last 2.5 will be the fastest, I predict.
Well, it may have to be if he misses targets. Hannevold, at his best, one of the most reliable, certainly the best shot in Norway for the last 4 or 5 years, but this year that hasn't been the case. So we'll see how he gets on. Big question mark over his form. 80% in the prone, 88% in the standing. Better at standing than he is at prone. Not many people can claim to be that, but when you're only shooting 80% with this prone, you've got a major problem.
Indeed you have. I think he picked up a lot of that 80% from the wind in Oberhof, because he's normally, as you said, so concrete, so stable, especially in the prone position, Hannevold. But as this race goes on, you can almost feel the pressure. This is getting more serious and that's why the more experienced biathletes are going in the last 2 positions. Now Sven's pushing it harder into the range than Hannevold wants to.
Well, Hannevold's just being sucked along in the slipstream, and I think that's going to play into the hands of the Norwegians. But Sven will know Hannevold's shooting record this year as well as anyone else. He will have had a quick look. Now, what's going to happen? Who is going to strike first?
Spare rounds onto the mat. Hannevold into position much earlier. Small body movements just to bed your position onto the mat.
Chance for Norway. And Hannevold takes his time. He's got them down. The rhythm was just that little bit slower than Sven Fischer, and now Fischer has got to turn it on. This is where we may see him at his fastest. He's given away 3 or 4 seconds, not much more than that. Hannevold, I think, should just calm down, say, I'm not far enough ahead. I might as well be towed round this loop as well. What do you reckon?
Yes, I think so. He started fast. Rotman very good in the prone position. I'm proving it.
Now, this is a good performance by the Austrian team. Suman went out very well, had 1st place. Perner, not too bad, a couple of mistakes in the shooting on the stand. He came in a good 30 seconds adrift of the Norwegians, but Wolfgang Rotman is coming back to them, 25.7. He's done exceptionally well so far.
Coaching staff proud. I think he's actually saying,
did you see that? He said they're all smack bang in the middle. Well, we're not going to see Rotman's target. We will see Fischer's, however. Remember, Rico Gross was shooting low. That was just high and central. High left, slightly left. And that was the miss. That almost would have missed the standing target. What happened there?
Snatch. He was he went for that too fast. His reactions just didn't make it happen at all. And Hannevold, although taking just a little bit longer, he was saying up in Oslo that he's desperately tried to improve his shooting speed, but he says when you've done it as long as I have, it's difficult to even pick up 2 seconds on the range, because that's his inbuilt routine. But he's working on it.
So Germany 3.6 seconds down at the moment, but we think that will change over the course of the next kilometre and a half. Austria, an excellent run. They're still in third and they're a long way clear of second, so they'll be thinking in terms of podiums already, and that will put the pressure onto Ludwig Gredler, who takes the last leg for them. Good to see the Czech Republic having such a good run in fourth position. Finland 1:30 behind. They've got Juni Kinnunen, not seen him before, Mike.
Very young lad, 21 years old, and yes, he is their weaker link, if you like.
They've put their two old boys first, so they're done and dusted. They've done exceptionally well, but we expect them to drop down through the order now. But if they can hold on to a top 6 position, I think the Finns would be happy. Ukraine, Estonia, Latvia, and of course Russia will be chasing them down. And the team that won last week in Oberhof, down in 10th position at the moment, 2:21 behind, and the Swedes have missed 6. They've been on the penalty loop once. Welcome back to Rupolding and the men's 4x7.5, the second race of this round of the World Cup. We're right down in the south of Germany, just 35 minutes or so drive from Salzburg, maybe a little bit longer if you're sticking to the speed limit, but it's a beautiful part of the world, not too far from the Austrian border, and very much the home for summer biathlon. I think Oberhof would claim to be the number one spot for training for the winter biathlon, possibly, Mike, but in the summer many of the teams coming down to this part of the world.
Indeed, and tying it in with training camps on the glacier down in Ramsau, so if they're travelling down from Scandinavia, may well come here for say 2 weeks training, then go to the glacier for 2 weeks training. And it's a chance also in the summer to meet the other teams. You want to be around the people you're competing with. Have a look what other teams are doing as well. The British team are based full-time down here. They've moved from Scotland, where they were based for many years, but decided to come down here. And it's the big summer base for biathlon.
So if you were a working man and wanting to compete in biathlon, and you had a couple of weeks in the summer to get fit, and that's all you had, would you head to Ramsau and the Dachstein Glacier, or would you come to Ramsau, or would you save your money and just train normally in the UK with roller skis? How would you prioritise?
It's a good point. If you don't have a lot of spare time, I think just using roller skis in your home area, it saves the travelling, and you can become very strong and very fit just by using roller skis. Of course, a lot of these teams do that, as well as going down to the glacier camps. Halvard, well, I predicted that Sven would increase the pace as each loop goes on, but Sven looks, remember the great recent form he's had, he looks like he's maybe losing a little bit of that great form.
No, he's saving it. He's saving himself for the last leg, and I think we're going to find that Hannevold is pushing a bit too hard. That was absolute maximum. He came up that hill, and it's a very unforgiving sport. You push too hard, you make mistakes, and all the time you gain. Skiing like this, he may have gained 10-15 seconds at the very most, but his chances of hitting 5 targets has probably gone down 50%.
Quite likely, but I mentioned earlier the strength of Halvard's mind. Wasn't impressed when he missed some targets at the weekend in Oberhof, and he will always bounce back. Disciplines himself, bouncing back well. 5 with 5 in the lying down. Let's see what he can do standing.
So this is getting critical. The second shoot on the third leg, just one leg to go. Norway will have none other than Ole-Einar Bjorndalen, with Germany relying on Mickey Grice again. He's done well to get himself posted into that position, and the Germans have finished second in the 2 relays so far this year. Hannevold versus Fischer, but they've switched lanes from that first shoot. Hannevold still breathing very hard. Successive misses, and I think that shout from the crowd with Fischer's first hit distracted both men. Down it goes. Hannavold holds on to that lead. Great shooting under those conditions. And Germany, with that 5th shot down, will limit the damage to around 5 or 6. There's the man who's got to do it for Norway now. Ole Einar Bjorndalen, cool as a cucumber as he waits, just doing his own routine. He tends to be able to block himself out from the situation. But once he gets racing, he'll be uncontrollable. Now, Austria, are they about to lose?
Oh, Rotman, that's so disappointing for Austria. It didn't ever look like he was going to be able to hit them. Tension throughout his whole body.
Oh, there you see the changed face of a coach. From having a man who was spot on in the prone, he has thrown them all wide.
Oh, this is so sad to see this.
I don't think he'll be reading the papers in Austria tomorrow. Well, he hits the last one. The first and the last go down, but 3 penalty loops to ski. Now, this is going to be interesting. He was a minute clear of 4th position, and the Czech Republic, 58 seconds to be exact. He's got 450 metres. It's going to be tight.
That's quite amazing, and of course, as you say, Czech Republic have still to shoot.
The only thing in the Austrians' favour is that they shot very, very quickly. Rotman may have missed, but he was quick.
I think Rotman is going to be saved by that missed shot there. Is that Peter Garabik? Yes. Ukraine, though, they've been shooting well all season.
There is Zemlia. Now, this one would certainly put the Ukraine into 3rd position. He's taking his time. He's frozen. He has frozen on shot number 5.
There is Zemlia thinking about going out into 3rd place. Well, I think that's Rotman will be saved. Estonia, fantastic, moving up into 3rd, maybe 4th position.
Well, they're ranked 15th. Roland Lessing having an absolutely outstanding shoot there. And the Russians finally getting away. Team number 2, are they going to make a challenge for 3rd place? It's a possibility. They could do with that if they want to remain in the hunt for the Relay World Cup at the end of the season. 2 minutes, 2 seconds behind, but they're only 10 seconds off 4th place. And well, the Austrians might have come out 1:46. They're only 6 seconds in front of the Estonians. So it is very, very tight for that 3rd position. And of course, we've got a great battle going on for 1st and 2nd. That is going to come down to the last leg. Ole Einar Bjorndalen up against Mickey Grice.
Oh, it's going to be quite amazing.
What's going to happen? Bjorndalen going to blast away and make mistakes on the prone. Grice will come back with a good shoot, and we'll have a sprint finish.
I think Bjorndalen, I think Bjorndalen will try to completely break Mickey Grice on the first 2.5 kilometres. Well, here is Sven on this last loop, probably the fastest ski time.
That was a good bit of skiing from Sven Fischer. He's forced Hannavold into the deeper snow. Last minute preparations for Ole Einar Bjorndalen. Good discipline from him. Checks the extra rounds to make sure he's got the lot, and he has. And here comes Sven Fischer, looking tired, Mike.
He's quite amazing. Sven Fischer can bring something special out on his final. After he does his last shoot, he's got like a renewed energy. It's quite surprising. Had the fastest leg last week on his last loop. We've seen that in the pursuits as well. But what's happened with Austria, it really has given the opportunity for 4 teams to potentially take 3rd place at this stage. I mean,
yeah, that's Russia, Finland, the Czech Republic and Estonia, all within 15 seconds of the Austrians now. Germany leading now in the 3rd leg as they approach the last few 100 metres of this leg. And Hannavold has started to make his charge. He's coming back on terms. Fischer may have gone too hard too soon on that sprint up the hill, but he's still got a cushion of 10 metres or so. And that's a gutsy performance from Hannavold. Not only has he shot well, but he has skied brilliantly to keep the Norwegians up the front. A fascinating battle developing. Bjorndalen could stamp his authority on it in the very first 2.5 kilometres, but I just get the feeling that this one is going to go right the way down to the last shoot.
Look at the power of these 2 men. Sven Fischer, he's a very muscly, very big athlete, and he's just bouncing up the hill. But do you know, Sven's form, I think, is going down. His mind is saying, move faster, but his body's not following the commands. and that's when it hurts. You really do hurt. You want to be going faster, but your body doesn't react. His body is screaming now for help.
Now, Hannevold had the opportunity to go through there, and he turned it down, possibly because he feels Bjorndalen may be better taking off in second place and just settling in behind Mickey Grice.
Quite possibly, although if you're in Hannevold's head right now, I think he's screaming at himself to get past Sven Fischer, take the glory of moving Norway into first place.
But it's not about the glory in the third leg, it's all about the fourth leg. The question is, should Bjorndalen take advantage of the fact that he's a much quicker skier than Grice?
Definitely.
Or should he just take it easy and try and make sure?
No, definitely the tactics for me would be, if you're the fastest skier, try and destroy the other athlete as much as you can on the track. And obviously stick to your routine of calming down. This is where Hannevold's going to do it.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. You can see the steepness of this hill now. This shot actually lets us see how steep this wall is. Well, it's down to the ski run in, although Hannevold is not quite as good on this sharp left-hander as Sven Fischer is. Sven, I think, cuts the line a little bit tighter than Hannevold.
Metres or so to go now for the leading two teams. It will be Germany that hand over in first place, but pretty much neck and neck as they line up. There is Mickey Grice, looking very nervous indeed, just checking his position. He's got to avoid any breakages at the changeover. Halvard Hannevold comes through, last minute charge from him, and handing over to Oleainen Bjorndalen. Well, this is where it is all going to unfold. They nip past each other, Fischer and Hannevold arm in arm. They've had a great battle here this evening. That is what biathlon is all about. But if only that had been the last leg, that would have been fantastic.
Look at Bjorndalen. He's just got a spring, an amazing energy that no other athlete here has.
Frank Ulrich, well, it's not often you see him smile, but he was enjoying that as well.
Well done, Hannevold, the master fighter.
Not only have they entertained us for the last 20 minutes, but they've also pulled themselves a long way clear of the chasing teams. 1 minute 46 ahead of Austria at the last shoot. I think we're going to see a gap of around 1:55 to 2 minutes, but just wait until the Austrians come in.
Look at this, interesting. Mickey Grice taking the inside line, which is always faster, but Bjorndalen on the more pressed down snow on the outside.
Fantastic skiing, absolutely superb skiing. He's probably doing that for two reasons. One, it's quicker on the flattened snow, Mike, and the snow, it's not quite so dirty as well, so he may be trying to avoid that for later in the race.
Indeed, not wanting the skis to slow down.
Or he's just showing off.
He's allowed to. He's that good, he's allowed to. He's only in fifth, but well and truly, 7-8 seconds behind third place. The race is no way dead at all. Rotman has punished himself on the final 2.5 kilometres. Try and give Gredler every advantage he can.
Well, he's got about 100 metres. You can see the fourth team in the background, Estonia and the Czech Republic coming in to take over. Good runs from both teams. The Czech Republic it is, who go out in fourth, 2 minutes and 2, so just 11 seconds down on Austria. It's very tight between 4 and 5. Estonia just another 9 seconds down, and then the Russians, who could come all the way from 6th up to 3rd on this last leg, and well, it's going to be Sergei Chepikov. Do you think he can do it?
I do think he can do it. It is possible when he shoots as well as this man does, and he's got the most experience out here racing at 37 years old. And so many years been competing.
I'm not sure he's quick enough over the snow at the moment. He will be at some stage this season, but we haven't seen the best of Sergei yet. Well, there's the new jump that they've built in Rupollding, already held one Nordic Combined World Cup on the event. A few problems with the wind.
There's the British team just being lapped now soon by Germany. Lee Jackson sadly missed one on a stand shoot, which has put them down there.
Now Bjorndalen starting to pull away, Mike. That's a 40-metre lead he's built up.
I think this is the best tactics. Destroy Mickey Grice as much as he can, not only physically but psychologically. But Bjorndalen must remember to calm down before the range, give himself some rest before he starts shooting.
I love that change in tempo just before he hits the bottom of the hill, and he just floats over the top of it. It looks effortless. It certainly isn't, but the contrast between these two men is just immense.
It is different style of skiing. Mickey Grice based on power, Bjorndalen on smooth, perfect balance, and of course extreme fitness. Team Estonia.
Ludwig Gredler of Austria. Nice steady speed so far. Gredler's shooting has not been up to scratch this year. 77 and 78% in the prone and the standing.
Well, that's a significant gap. Mickey Grice just coming into the bottom of the hill. Ole Einar 3/4 of the way up it. Interesting, your Himmler, Ole Einar Bjorndalen's shooting coach, wasn't impressed with his athlete's performance on the range. His shooting drills, the way he was on the procedures, the shooting procedures as he termed it. So I wonder if they've worked on that in the last 3 days, 4 days.
Well, I hope they planned for this snow, because as you can see, it's starting to thicken up. There's been a bit of drizzle earlier on, but as the temperature drops, it's starting to snow now, and this could cause a few problems for the skiing, but it's the same for everyone out there. But rather like Formula One, if you know it's coming, you plan for it, and you put the right tyres on. In this game, you put the right skis on, but I think to be that accurate and to get the start of the snow within 15 minutes is almost impossible, so I'm sure it's just a bit of a surprise, but it's significant.
It is indeed. But look at this man, he's just unbelievable. This is effort. We do tend to see Ole Einar Bjorndalen, he's such an amazing athlete. He pushes himself to his limit all the time, so we do see him, in relation to many of the other athletes, slowing down in his last loop.
Yeah, he goes out hard from the start, and in a way that may not be a good thing, because you increase the risk of missing targets, whereas on your last loop that might as well be absolutely 100% flat out. Do you think we'll see him change that over the years, or?
Well, he's becoming more dynamic at this as he's getting older. He's charging round his first loop. Much more so than he used to be. So I think he's just so confident that he can out-ski everybody by a minute that he's desperately trying to make that 1 minute and 5 seconds.
Well,
because he always looks for ways to improve.
At the last split point, his time for Norway, 19 seconds clear of Germany, so he's earned himself in that first 2.5 kilometre loop at least one miss. So he can miss one and guarantee to come out first. Should he miss two, then it's going to be a tight affair.
But listen to the crowds. Hear the racket when he's shooting.
Well, that is how to silence 16,000 biathlon supporters. Excellent shooting from Ole Einar Bjorndalen. The prone shooting is big problem last year, but he's put it right, and he has cleared 5 with 5.
Oh, that was amazing.
I'm sure the coach will be happy with the way things have gone now.
You see, it's pushed Mickey Grice over his limit.
You're absolutely right. Pressure is on. That was close. Very close.
Well, this hurts when you're still gasping for air. 3 spares, 3 targets to hit. Can't miss.
19 seconds. Mickey Grice is going to find himself almost a minute behind the Norwegians. That is the damage that Ole Einar Bjorndalen, the 4 times gold medalist from the Salt Lake City Games, that is what he's done to Germany in the space of 2,500 metres. Phenomenal stuff. Germany now 58.9 seconds behind. Well, it's not over quite yet, but it's as good as. Let's have a look at Bjorndalen's shot, the fall of shot on that first prone shoot. Low left. Just scraping in, Mike. Do you think this is something to do with the light? That looked as though it went off to the right. A little bit to the right. Also to the right. No, he's come in at an amazing intensity. But I think Jor Himle, his coach, his shooting coach, will be praising him today. That was Toya, the waxing technician, in the middle of those 3. Now, Austria to save face, hold on to 3rd position. You can see that the Estonians and the Czech Republic catching them. First miss from Gredler, but he gets 4 out of 5. That should be good enough to fend off the Czechs, who've put in an absolutely outstanding run so far. Well done, Ludwig Gredler. Austria still safe at the moment in 3rd. Russia missing Chepikov. Thought he could go 5 with 5. Estonia still well in it. Now the Russians with Sergei Chepikov are going to have to do something special if they want to catch Austria, who are now just 2:20 behind. Chepikov gets it down. He'll come out pretty much level with the Czech Republic, so a good battle going on there. Zdenek Vitek up against Chepikov. The Ukrainian team have faded. The Estonians have thrown away a bit of an opportunity there. Dmitry Borovic, we would have expected him to clear the prones, but he's had a few problems. Sweden starting to come back in with it. Bergman, that was even faster than Ole Einar Bjorndalen's 5 shots. Bergman on fire. How does Ole Einar Bjorndalen do this? Well, hours and hours and hours of training on top of the phenomenal natural talent that he already has. You sort of get the feeling that he could have taken up running, fell running or cycling and still have been amongst the best 5 in the world. Gymnastics as well, seemingly he was, that's where he started out, gymnastics, and then found biathlon. But now he's from a very small area, isn't he? Small town, but his club, the smallest club probably, is producing the best results in Norway. Well, this is the replay of Mickey Grice and his misfortune in that first shoot in this final leg. Reduced to using 3 spare rounds, saved himself the embarrassment of going on the penalty loop, but as you saw, 58.9 seconds down on Norway. Mickey Grice, and that's Ulrich, head coach. They'll be delighted that last shot went down. Yeah, but he didn't look too chuffed to me, having been in very good mood early on with Rico Gross putting in a good leg, also a great run from Sven Fischer to stay with the Norwegians. So the second time split, Norway are through already. 58 has grown to 160. Bjorndalen's pulling away. He's now earned himself 3 misses and at least 1 penalty loop. In fact, almost 2 penalty loops. And he can still come out and outski Grice to win this one. I think the only thing that is going to stop him winning now is if he misses all 8. Yeah, it appears that way. He's taking an amazing amount of time out of any other athletes. The German newspapers tomorrow will probably be saying, well, why aren't our athletes faster? Why are the German team losing time on their skis? But they have to understand this man is special. Bjorndalen. How many medals at next year's Olympics? I believe, Patrick, that Bjorndalen could do the same again. He's got an amazing capacity
to bring his whole life into that one moment, that one start line, and forget what happened yesterday, and forget about the next race, just the moment.
I'm not sure Mr. Poiret is going to appreciate that comment. I'm sure he'll be thinking, well, some of the gold is mine, and of course we've got an extra event. Now let's have a look what's going on here. Is this the fall that we were talking about?
No, this is another Italian having problems.
Good recovery though from Benaldi, Sergio Benaldi, taking the last leg for Italy. Yes, Mike, the extra event in the Olympic Games, the mass start.
Oh, so 5 medals, 5 potential medals this time, of course, the mass start. And I think that'll be a great one, introducing that to the Olympic calendar.
Absolutely.
Chepikov is making an impression here. Up into 4th.
2:54. That final shoot is going to be some occasion. First and second, not quite decided, but not far off it. Great run from Bjorndal, and this is the sort of display that we saw in Oslo when he put in what he said was a perfect race. He doesn't often get 2 perfect races in succession, so I don't think it bodes well for Saturday and the sprint event. But here we go. He needs to hit just 3 targets to ensure victory here.
Hesitating. When you hesitate, you're out of your normal rhythm.
Still good enough though. It is still good enough. Minimum adjustment to his position to load that spare round. Down goes number 5, easy as you like. Well, 11 rounds to clear the 10 targets. The coaching team approve of that. And, well, no wonder what it must be to have this man going last. And I think you have to give a huge amount of credit to Halvard Hannibal, who took the 3rd leg and put Norway in this position. Had Bjorndalen had to chase down 30 seconds, it could have been a very different story.
Indeed it could, and it's so important to have good team members to place this man where he can do so well. That was a central hit. Previous 2 were fairly central. This was the miss, I think. He hesitates, takes it longer. He's holding his breath. Just high. Just high, and part of the round came down onto the target. The last one, he got unlucky on number 4. He got lucky on number 5, and then the first spare round, he deals with it with a 9. That was absolutely just off central. Now, he's depressed, he's hurting, he feels the pressure.
Yeah, all he can do now is think about saving seconds. So the thoughts are somewhat negative at the moment for Mickey Grice. Well,
the sign of a true champion.
Good man to come back from that big disappointment in the pro. That's excellent shooting, and Frank Ulrich nods his head, so we'll let him off today. I don't think, whatever Mickey Grice had done today, I don't think he was going to beat Bjorndalen, but he has impressed the crowd, he's impressed the coaches with that last shoot, 5 out of 5, and it was pretty quick as well. So his spirit's raised, he's set off with a little more vigour on this final loop. No chance of catching Bjorndalen unless we have a fall. Now, the real competition is about 3rd and 4th positions, and we've got just a few seconds before they come in for their final shoots.
Perfect shooting that was. Quite amazing.
Austria first, and Ludwig Gredler, plenty of experience.
Well done, Ludwig. Well, they've got 3rd place, you can safely say, for Austria.
All that hard work paying off. It's worth a drink. Definitely. Excellent stuff. Russia, well, their chance of finishing 3rd has gone, and really Kruglov and Konovalov, who took the first 2 legs for Russia, have not done their fair share of the work. It's not been a bad performance by Rostovtsev, and Sergei Chepikov has been outstanding. Started down in 6th, he's going to finish 4th, but this is the sort of man that will put up a chase for 2nd place, but I can't see him catching Gredler now. 2:57 down, what is he, 18 seconds off the Austrians.
Oh, Bergman's tried to push it so hard for Sweden. Took a little bit of a risk, but hasn't paid off.
And Estonia clear all 5 at the first attempt. Good shooting from Dmitry Borovic, and I think they're going to produce their best race of the season by some margin. 13th in Oberhof. They didn't race in Biatlon. Now Bergman.
Last week it was so good for Sweden, they won this race.
I like his stock.
Yes, he designs that, or has designed that himself, made it. Now, will Oleaina Bjorndalen leading by, what, 1 minute 23 when they left the range? Will he slow down?
Yes, surely. He's got a long weekend ahead of him. He's still got 2 races to come, the sprint and the pursuit. I'm not sure he's too worried about the overall World Championship, World Cup this year, Mike, because we know he's got his eyes set on the Nordic World Championships in Oberstdorf. Just under a kilometre to go now for Oleaina Bjorndalen, and cruising home to victory. The second win of the season for the Norwegians. So they've had 2 wins, 1 disqualification. And I wonder whether we're going to see the likes of Berger and Anderson race relays again. This is a big, big statement made in particular by the likes of Ekhoff and Hjelland, who took the first 2 legs. Hannevold, I think it's difficult to leave him out because he is so reliable. Bjorndalen, you certainly won't leave out of a relay. But Anderson and Berger tend to get the Norwegian public a little bit nervous when it comes to relay races.
And I think that's quite right as well. I mean, the relay is about not picking up spare rounds. It's such a short race, you want to have reliability. That is what makes the race. Well, maybe we thought Bjorndalen would take this last loop slowly. Maybe it's Mickey Grice taking it slowly. He's losing a lot of time since the range. It was 1 minute 23, and I think we're going to see it a lot. Yeah, 20 seconds slower, so 1 minute 43 behind now.
Well, I'm sure the coaching team have done their work and informed him. Bjorndalen, 1 more big climb to go. This may give us some idea of just how hard he's pushing. There's plenty of support out there.
You know, I think this will be the fastest time of the day by over 45 seconds. I'll try and get the stats on that. Yeah, the perfect race again for Oleaina Bjorndalen. 1 spare round though.
But what impressed me is how quick he was with that spare round. It took him 5 seconds to reload and get the target down again, twice as quick as the average performance. And he's put his rounds on the stock, so he knows how to get it out very, very quickly. Minimal adjustment, and he's gone and beaten the Germans on their own soil, and he's absolutely delighted. He's a man that's very popular down here. No one who knows anything about biathlon doesn't know all about this man, Oleaina Bjorndalen. But look at that shooting record today, Mike. 3 penalties in all for Norway, or 3 missed targets, or is it 4? 4 missed targets.
1 each athlete.
1 for each athlete. I don't think I can remember the day they last achieved that, and it has just shown that when they get it right, they are just about unbeatable. Ekhoff, Hjelland, Hannevold and Bjorndalen, an awesome quartet, and they have secured the win here in Rupolving. Well, it was a good effort by Germany. All started by Alexander Wolf, who put a lot of pressure on the front of the field. Rico Gross, steady as ever. Good shooting again from him. Sven Fischer, a little bit below par perhaps, but still keeping Germany in with a chance. But Bjorndalen just blowing this man away. Mickey Grice out of it from the first 100 metres.
When you look at the ski times though, Patrick, the German team only used 5 extra rounds than the Norwegian team, so the ski speed is quite incredible from the Norwegian team. Untouchable.
So Mickey Grice comes home for Germany in second place. He'll be disappointed, and I know Frank Ulrich was very disappointed with the first shoot in the prone position, but his standing shoot was quite outstanding. Very, very quick. He didn't hang around, took the risks. It paid off. 5 out of 5 in the standing. 157 the difference between them. At least 650 metres, maybe even 700 metres at the speed that Bjorn Dahlem was travelling.
I think Gross is saying, well, ow, ow, ow. The rifle, as he bent down, hit Rico on the head. That will hurt.
Coming in third position, good run by the Austrians. Suman, Perner, Rotman rocked the boat a little, lost a lot of ground, but a good run from Ludwig Gredler. The old man of the team has done the perfect job. He's secured that third place. All started well with Christoph Suman, 10 out of 10. He was right up the front of the field, but the Austrians will be chuffed to bits to be back on the podium. Let's hope that that is the start of something great, and we're going to see them putting in these sort of performances when it comes to the World Championship.
I really hope so. Gredler is a very popular, all the Austrian athletes are very popular athletes, and they'll be down celebrating downtown tonight. I think we can guarantee that.
Watch out. Russia disappointed on the day. They were lying in second in the World Cup rankings. 2 third positions they've had in the relay so far. They get fourth today, 3:13 down, but it all went wrong early on. We should see their individual scores. Kruglov, Konovalov taking the first 2 legs, Rostovtsev and Chepikov bringing up the last 2. Now, here's another very good result indeed. The Czech Republic coming in 5th position. They held on to 3rd for a while, faded in the closing stages, but I'm still fairly sure that Zdenek Vitek, finishing there, will be delighted with the way things have gone. Sweden down in 17th place after the first leg. They've done well to get back to 6th. 4:06 off the pace. Bergman pushed it hard, took risks, made mistakes on his standing shoot, but still a fairly outstanding performance from them to come climb 10 places in the last 2 legs. But Norway, very much the kings of the day. They take the win here in Rupollding. Ukraine 4:30. Mike, the slower teams coming in. Before we leave, any news of the British performances at the last checkpoint that they've been through? Down in 17th.
Yes, sadly, Joe Brooks has been on the penalty loop, I think in the prone it was, in the lying down position. And 11 minutes 23 off the pace after the second shoot, the 4th athlete.
Well, it was a good start by Tom Clements, give them credit for that, but they have faded in the closing stages, and the Brits down in 17th. But the top 3 teams here, Norway dominant in first place, the best shooting we've seen from them in any relay this year. They win the day. Germany in second, and the Austrians with a season's best 3rd positions ahead of Russia.